Here's another story I'm posting in Extreme Weather and Science in the News. This is for week 5 now. New research tests AI's ability to forecast severe weather. This was posted again by Tim Heller. I posted something previously from Tim. He is a meteorology consultant in the broadcast industry, but this was an interesting post. I think I pulled this off of LinkedIn. And I'll just go through this post with you because I think it's pretty interesting. And it kind of ties in with the severe weather bit that I included in week 4 that we talked about, the little segment from that Weather Brains podcast from 2019 where they talked about the issuance of severe or thunderstorm watches and convective outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center, and if there was issues involved when the meteorologists are kind of concerned about if they should issue, what grade or category level they should issue, that sort of thing. Again, there's kind of a loose tie-in with that. But let me go through this article with you. Researchers at the National Severe Storms Laboratory, NSSL, and by the way, that is where the scientist who was in that podcast from Weather Brains podcast that I pointed to, that little segment, she was the one, she worked at NSSL, it still does, I think. But scientists and researchers there and several universities in the United States and the United Kingdom recently tested artificial intelligence ability to generate a severe weather forecast. After some prompting and prodding, the AI eventually correctly identified the risk of severe weather. However, there were enough errors in the text output to ensure human meteorologists still have a job, at least for now. It goes on to talk about the integration of generative AI, such as GPT-4V, into meteorology brings opportunities for improving forecast communications of weather hazards across languages and communities. Of course, with AI, you can make sure all of the alerts and warnings and advisories are done in multiple languages, that just basically whatever the language the user is fluent in, that would be the language that they see that alert in. So there's great value there in terms of communication. But in terms of the forecasting itself, the article goes on to say, with charts supplied by Pivotal Weather, does that sound familiar? It should. And those maps you can see look like the ones we use from Pivotal Weather. Researchers first tested AI's ability to analyze the atmosphere using data from the North American model, that ring a bell, the NAM, the NAM model, and the Global Forecasting System, which is the GFS, which we talked about. And the initial data set was limited. We give sufficient information to the AI model that a human would capture the general flow pattern from the same resources. Okay? Right away, researchers noticed some hallucinations, in quotes, in the text analysis generated by GPT-4V. For example, AI response referred to precipitation that did not exist in the provided data, and the terminology used to describe the weather sometimes differed from the typical language used by human meteorologists. That part seems like that would be easy to fix, just from a programming standpoint. Interestingly, the initial prompt also asked the large language model what data it needed to improve its weather analysis. In response, GPT-4V requested additional upper air soundings, surface dew points, sea level pressure and humidity charts, and upper level vorticity. And to the author, Tim Heller, this suggests the large language model has some understanding of atmospheric thermodynamics. In other words, topics we kind of hit on, some of those topics, those are the basics of meteorology. So there is some understanding within the AI modeling of what's going on in these atmospheric processes. And of course, then they continuously learn as well. The AI learns. So for complex tasks such as this, OpenAI recommended splitting the process into small, more manageable prompts and responses. After the initial analysis, researchers asked the AI to identify states with the possibility of severe weather. While the response contained vague rationale for some of the forecasts, nonetheless, they provided 5 specific regions with elevated risk that ultimately resembled the SPC forecast. Of course, the goal would be, this is my opinion thrown in, to improve upon or enhance the SPC forecast, and it's not there, obviously. The point of the whole article is AI is being used to improve weather forecasting in many, many ways, including issuing convective outlooks severe weather risk assessments, that sort of thing. And I think it's a kind of an appropriate story to just kind of throw in here for your final week of this class, because it all, again, relates to the communication of critical weather risk information and making sure the public understands what that information means and can react accordingly. So that's it. Just wanted to